Let's talk about how to use an FPR micro mesh nib smoothing sheet. Now before you use the sheet, you want to make sure that the tines of your pen are not misaligned. The most common reason a fountain pen will be scratchy is because the tines are misaligned. One tine will be sticking up farther than the other, either the left tine or the right tine. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that those tines are not out of alignment and that there's not a big gap between the nib tipping, especially on a flex pen. It's important for the tipping of the nib to be touching. Otherwise, it will make the nib scratchy. It is useful for that reason to keep a loop or some magnification device on hand before you smooth a nib, so you can take a look at that nib from the left side, from the right side, between the tines. This nib looks fine. The next thing you're going to do when you know you're ready to use the sheet is you're going to run your pen across the paper to find the direction that it's scratchy. Generally, there's one direction that'll be scratchier than the other, so move it up and down, left and right. In this case, this one's a little bit scratchy, moving left to right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to my FPR Micro Mesh Nib Smoothing Sheet. Now, you can use these either wet or dry, but I prefer to use them dry, but with an inked pen. So I'm laying down some of that ink on the page to keep the pad wet as I'm drawing my lines. So since this pen was scratchy from left to right, I'm actually going to run the pen along the nib smoothing sheet from left to right about 3 or 4 times. No more, just 3 or 4 times. And then I'm going to go back to my paper. It's important to keep some paper on hand for this. And I'm going to run the pen across the paper. That already feels much smoother. If I want to smooth it more, I might go back to the micro mesh sheet and give it 3 or 4 more passes. Again, no more than that, no more than 6 to 8 passes. What you don't want to do is over smooth the nib. You don't want to flatten or create a flat spot on that ball tipping. So I'm going to go back to the paper. That feels very smooth now. Now, if I needed to do some more smoothing, something more extensive than just 6 to 8 passes, I want you to watch carefully. What it's important to do is rotate the pen some as you're doing the smoothing. Right, see, I'm sort of rotating the pen, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that tipping maintains a ball shape as opposed to getting flattened out on one side. So I'm going to rotate the pen as I smooth the nib. And there you go. That's how you use an FPR piece of micro mesh for nib smoothing.